Do you want to know how the life on Earth evolved around time? If you want to know, just stick to this video. This video will focus on the evidences of Charles Darwin used to develop the descent with modification, and it will determine the people who is being influenced by Charles Darwin to prove that evolution is really exists. But before we proceed to our main topic, let's define first what is evolution. Evolution occurs when there is change in the heritable information passed from one generation to next. Our planet Earth has rich in biodiversity, inhabiting in different ecosystems. Several species live with it, and we are one of them. But did you know that scientists group them in order to classify and identify them easily? They came up with an idea that organism, no matter how diverse it is, has common ancestor. Yes, every organism had a common descent. What is common descent? Common descent is an effect of speciation in which multiple series derived from a single ancestral population. The more recent the ancestral population of two species have in common, the more closely are they related. Keep in mind that speciation is an event that produces two or more separate species from an original species. Descent with modification. This phrase summarizes Charles Darwin's perception of the unity of life in his book on the origins of the species. It states that all organisms are related through descent from a common ancestor that live in the remote past. Creatures alive today is descendant with modification from ancestral past that live in distant past by developing adaptation despite unfavorable. Charles Darwin's book only proved that all living organisms are said to be descended from last universal common ancestor, or the Luca of all life on Earth. One example of descent modification is Darwin's theory of finches on the Galapagos Islands. On the island of Galapagos, he found that there were various populations of finches on one island. They looked similar to finches found on the mainland, but they had very different beaks. Also, Darwin elaborately discussed the survival of the fittest in his theory, the natural selection. Natural selection is an evolution process introduced by Charles Darwin. It hypothesized that all forms of life come from a common ancestry, which develops into various forms as they adapted to their environment. It explained that organisms who possess favorable traits or species who can better adapt to its environment can survive. It explains the survival of the fittest. Of evolution is Russell's record. Russell's record is made up of all the fossils that have been found, along with their relative ages. Scientists can look at patterns in the fossil record to understand the history of life on Earth. For example, Archaeopteryx, a flying dinosaur that shows the transition from dinosaur to birds. Some of the preserved specimens show evidence of feathers and wings, characteristic found in modern birds. John Baptist Lamarck, a French biologist, he advocates the idea that animals acquired characteristics after using certain physical traits constantly. His theory is use and disuse. He believed, for instance, the reason why the necks of giraffes were long was because they stretched to reach leaves on high trees. But Lamarck's theory were disapproved because of the following. Number 1, not aware of how traits were inherited. Number 2, inheritable characteristics of organisms are not affected by their behavior. Carolus Linnaeus or Carl Linnaeus established the practice of binomial nomenclature, that is, the domination of each kind of plant by two words, the genus name and the specific name. James Watson, Francis Crick. James Watson and Francis Crick discovered the DNA. The two have shown that in DNA, form is function the double-stranded molecule could both produce exact copies of itself and carry genetic instructions. Thanks for the discovery of DNA, it is now possible for scientists to identify not just the gene but the individual basis. Gregor Mendel demonstrated that individuals inherit one allele from each of the male and female parent and they transmit these alleles randomly to the next generation. Gregor Mendel further thinks that species undergo mutation, speciation, adaptation, and genetic variation that cause distinct modification and diversity of species. This is the end of my video tutorial. I hope you learned something. I am Cristine saying the theory of evolution is like the theory of gravity. It has scientific fact.